Everyone welcome. We are excited to participate in this year's Scotiabank Climate Change Challenge.
The Samaritan House in Brandon is Manitoba's second largest food bank. They distribute between 80 to 100 food hampers per day, with 20,000 hampers distributed per year. Food banks face a serious shortage of donations, and demand is increasing rapidly. They need more than 147,000 pounds of food each year to provide for their clients' needs.
Fresh produce is most desperately in need. The prices for fresh produce are increasing at an alarming rate, making it harder for families to attain. Over the last 3 years, the vegetable index has increased by over 18%, while the food index has only increased by 3.1% in Manitoba. In 2020, this meant an additional $411 to the average Canadian family annual grocery bill. This large increase in cost makes basic nutrition harder to achieve.
In 2012, our team conducted a needs assessment with the Samaritan House on hunger in Brandon. This assessment revealed that the demand on the food bank had doubled in the past 10 years, and since then it has doubled yet again to be more than 1,800 people per month.
At Enactus Brandon, we saw a way to combat this, and we created Green Futures.
Today we would like to share our story on how we saw a need, came up with an idea, empowered our community, and impacted our city in a positive and sustainable way.
Partnering with the Samaritan House, we came together to develop a community garden that would provide families with fresh produce and empower those who relied on the food bank.
We found low-income participants who didn't have the opportunity to create a garden for themselves, many of whom already personally relied on the Samaritan House for assistance.
We built 81 raised garden beds, and our community garden, Green Futures North, was born.
With 81 garden beds, each producing approximately 45 pounds, we can produce more than 3,600 pounds of vegetables. Additionally, we have a large in-ground plot growing food directly for the food bank, which produced around 400 pounds of food last year. At a cost of approximately $4.35 per pound at the store, we have generated more than $17,500 of economic impact.
Roughly 8% of an individual's carbon footprint comes from buying food, and of that, 30% comes from transporting the food to the store. By growing food in our gardens, our participants significantly decrease their carbon footprint. This results in a substantial environmental impact. For every pound of produce grown locally, instead of buying it at the store, roughly 2 pounds of CO2 is eliminated. With 4,000 pounds each sequestering 2 pounds of CO2, Green Futures North alone eliminates 8,000 pounds of CO2 per year.
This project is important and dear to our program because of the many benefits it has. It directly improves the lives of the members of our community by giving them the opportunity to grow their own produce, learn a new skill, and create lasting relationships along the way.
This past summer, we worked with 17 local families to help them grow fresh vegetables. Any of our garden beds that were not used by the community members are dedicated to growing food for the food bank itself, to ensure that we are maximizing our impact.
Our team has faced many challenges along the way. Due to COVID-19, we were unable to provide communal tools to our gardeners this past summer as we normally would.
However, by putting in extra volunteer hours, we were able to till every single garden bed for our gardeners to spare them the need, and established a tool loan program that allowed gardeners to borrow whatever tools they needed for the season.
This upcoming summer, we plan to make our community gardening program bigger and better than ever. We have secured funding and space to double the size of Green Futures North. This will allow us to provide more beds for community members, grow more food for the food bank, and experiment with growing our own food for sale.
As we expand, a portion of the garden will be dedicated to microgreen production. Our goal is to sell microgreens at local farmers markets to local restaurants and provide them for use in the Samaritan House food kitchen. This expansion will allow us to hire one person full-time for the maintenance and management of our gardens. Our long-term expansion goals are to turn our garden into a sustainable social enterprise.
We are also in preliminary talks with our partners at the Samaritan House to create another community garden in central Brandon that will provide beds for residents of a nearby retirement home and even more space for the food bank.
With our Green Futures initiative, we are successfully decreasing one of Brandon's biggest problems, hunger, by giving our community the knowledge, access, and the ability to grow food all on their own. 4,000 pounds of vegetables,
$17,500 of economic impact,
8,000 pounds of CO2 eliminated,
997 people impacted.
Together, we are committed to creating a greener, brighter, and better future. Life's a garden. Dig it.